Shri Vishanvitam Cha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarupascha Rupa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo in a scroll up. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So devotees, up until yesterday, dear Sri Dhamma Prabhu has covered two of the most very important verses, and it was all about Krishna is emphasizing the importance of remembering him at the time of death, and especially in this particular chapter. Krishna was directly giving answers to Arjuna on the first 7 questions, and then after, like the 7 verses, and then from the 8th verse onwards, he actually starts elaborating further in terms of how one can remember him at the time of death. So the rest of the verses in this chapter are like a question, an answer to the question, like more or less an elaboration of what's there in text 8. So hopefully we'll be able to cover that verse as well today. But just to quickly recap on yesterday's verses, Krishna was talking, like in verse 8, verse 6, about the importance of, like, if one remembers him at the time of quitting this body, he will for sure attain him, is what he's saying. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that he kind of gave examples, right? Like in the previous verse, our Baswati Mataji was explaining about the story of Ajamil, and how when he called upon his youngest son's name, Narayan, without the intent of really calling out the Lord, still the Vishnu Dutas came to protect him, and then eventually he went back to the Vishnu Loka. And in this verse 6, Prabhupada has given an example of how Maharaj Bharat, even though he's been a very pious person all through his life, but at the end of the life, he got attached to the deer, and he thought about the deer, so therefore he ended up getting the body of the deer. So these are like 2 different kinds of examples that we have seen in these past 2 verses. So we'll go to the next verse and we'll kind of dwell a little deeper with the help of all the devotees. We'll kind of understand this verse further. May we have one of our devotees, or like 3 of our devotees, volunteer to read the text 7, please?
I can try, Prabhuji.
Sure.
तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मरयुध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I can also try. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmarayutta cha mayyarpitamano buddhir mame vaishyano asamshayaha. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any other devotees, or I can go ahead as well?
I can say, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मम अनुसर युद्धच्च मया अर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्माम् एवोष्यसि असंशय. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. And Mataji, can we have one of our devotee read through the synonyms as well as the translation, please?
I can read them.
Sure.
Synonyms: Tasmat, therefore, Sarveshu, at all, Kaleshu, times, Mam, me, Anusmara, go on remembering, Yudhya, fight, Cha, also, Mai, unto me, Arpita, surrendering, Manaha, mind, Buddhi, intellect, Mam, unto me, Eva, surely, Asyasi, you will attain, Asamsayaha, beyond a doubt. Translation by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. The purport is small. Can one of our devotees read the purport as well before we delve into it?
I can
You want
read.
me to? Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
Sure, Mataji.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. This instruction to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. The Lord does not say that one should give up his prescribed duties or engagements. One can continue them and at the same time think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. This will free one from material contamination and engage the mind and intelligence in Krishna. By chanting Krishna's names, one will be transferred to the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, without a doubt. So here Krishna is assuring Arjuna that thinking of him and at the same time also doing the prescribed duties for living entity will attain the Krishna Loka. That's true, and there is no doubt about it. So that's why for everyone do not have to become a sannyasi or yogi. But in a grihastha life, a grihastha can do their duties, but always keep Krishna in the center. So, whatever we do in our daily life, in material activities, we have to do it. But at the same time, if we focus on Krishna and thinking of Him, uh, doing His service, deity worship, making prasadam, then associating with devotees, chanting the Mahamantra. So, reading scriptural books that will help actually to attain the Krishna bhakti, and therefore, Prabhupada is also in this purport. It's saying if someone can do those things, fix their mind on Krishna, then they can attain their goal to go back to Krishna Loka. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mataji. Any other devotees would like to add uh, anything related to the purport or what Krishna is explaining here in this verse?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can add something. I think earlier in the chapters, I don't know exactly where, but Krishna has asked Arjun that think about me, keep me in your mind, and fight, right? And Arjun killed so many of his relatives during the war, but actually, it did not amount to pap. Why? Because his heart was with Krishna. Similarly, like Hanumanji, he helped Ramji, and he actually like helped kill so many of the demons, right? And even with him, that doesn't amount to pap because there was like no dvesh in his feelings when in his heart, when he was like acting out. In his heart, he was just doing Lord Ram's duties, like helping him basically, right? His e- essentially service for Lord Ram or Lord Krishna, either one of them. So I think similarly here also, Prabhupada is explaining that even if people are engaged in their household activities as grihasthas doing their regular jobs, or like uh, um, cooking for their family or taking care of children, as long as we have Krishna in our mind and our consciousness, then it actually counts as bhajan. Not that we are doing like mundane material activities, but our consciousness during that time is really with Krishna, wherever our hands, or like physically whatever we might be doing, but our heart is Krishna at that time. So I think that is what I understand from this verse, Prabhuji. If you can expand more. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mataji. I think you kind of touched some good points here. Any other devotees would like to add anything? Okay. So, I mean, in this verse, what Krishna is essentially asking us to do is more or less like, do karma yoga, right? Like, do your actions, but just don't get attached to the results of it. Just get just like, attached to me, or offer those actions to me without getting attached to them. So, I was going through I was listening to some lectures on this particular verse, and there were some examples that were given, and I wanted to share those with you because they were kind of, some of them were very striking. So there were like, one aspect of it is, there are spiritualists, there are people who follow spiritual life, and they want to prioritize their spiritual life. But at the same time, they also have an opinion that they should completely discard the material life, meaning they don't want to take care of their family, or they don't want to engage in any responsibilities. And they think that, okay, if I am practicing spiritual life, it indirectly means I should completely stay away from this, stay aloof from this material world and anything that it has to offer. That's one category of people, spiritualists. And there's, on the other side, there are also people who are on the material realm. They are like majority of us, or follow into that material realm, where we don't have time for spiritual life. We are so busy doing our material engagements that they seldom find time to do any spiritual practice. So there are like these two categories of people. Both have different intentions, and Krishna is kind of discouraging these two different sets of people and their thought processes. One is, people who are materialists, who are not able to find time, and those who are spiritualists but are discarding the material responsibilities. So what Krishna is, I think this verse is clearly explaining to us that one can still continue to fulfill their material responsibilities, and still stay connected with the Lord. In other words, one can spiritualize their material actions just by thinking about the Lord. And I think that is the practice that I think we all need to implement in our day-to-day life, is how do we continue with our material responsibilities and still live as a focused, Krishna-centered spiritual life. And that's what Bhakti Yoga offers. And I think from day one, since I've been associated with this con, or from day one I've been listening to the lectures. I have never heard any devotee saying that, okay, Prabhu, now you stop studying and just stop doing your college or university studies and then focus on studying, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. They said you continue to, do your day-to-day activities, but also take sufficient time to be able to understand the scriptures, and also with an intent to kind of spiritualize your material activities. So I think that's what the essence is of this verse, what Krishna is trying to explain. Now, one may question, um, if there are any examples of it. And I was reading one example where there's a lady in a village. I think we are used to seeing this back in India, right? In villages, not everybody has access to like the water. And so back in the day, people used to take their pots to the well and they used to get the water. And then they used to again hold the pot on their head and then, go back to their home. So one of the analogies that I've read about this is that the way how one should really connect with the Lord is that the lady who is holding the pot on her head, she has water in it. But when she is walking from the well back to her home, she engages, it's not that her mind is just focusing on the pot and her, like, all the way through, right? And instead, she's having conversations with people. Somebody that she knows may say, strike a conversation with her while she's walking, and she may acknowledge some other people. There's some of her kids and whatnot. So it's not that she's completely devoid of doing material actions, or she's completely focused on that. She's engaged in her material actions, but at the same time, she's always conscious about the pot on her head, right? Like it's not that she's talking to somebody else and she completely forgot about the pot and then the pot would fall down and break. She's at a very subtle level, her subconsciously, her mind is focused. No matter what actions she was engaging in, she may be waving her hand, she may be talking to others on her way, but still her mind is focused on the pot. So this was one of the analogy that I kind of, like I was reading through, where even though we may be engaged in our material actions and activities all through the day, we can still think about the Lord at a subtler level. And one of the things that has been suggested and recommended is that sometimes people ask me, hey, when I'm driving, how can I think about the Lord? Because I need to focus, I need to give my 100% on my surroundings. Yes, you should 100% give attention to your surroundings, but one way is to, you can turn on kirtans and just continue to listen to the Lord's names. Or, sometimes devotees give these examples that whenever when we are driving, when we see something, they some way or the other way try to relate it to the Lord. Let's say if they see a blue car or if they see something, they try to connect it with the Lord. So there is always a way for you to think about the Lord when you are engaged in your material actions. And as Baswati Mataji was explaining earlier, one way to do it is like, just chant the holy names of the Lord. And I think yesterday, I forgot, is it Krisha Mataji? She was telling us that she has been attending the kirtans, and nowadays when she wakes up, the tune has been ringing in her head. So like without her making any conscious effort to remember it. In the same way, if we can constantly think about the Lord, if we constantly hear the holy names of the Lord, uh, it'll reverberate within our head. It's not that we are consciously thinking about it, but it's at a subconscious level we are thinking about the Lord. So I think that's the practice that we all need to. Uh, um, I think we all need to practice in our day-to-day life. And one other thing I wanted to share here is that will there be karma for all the actions, right? So Krishna is saying here clearly that don't get attached to the results and instead just focus on your duties. There was one other example that I was reading through. Devotees, this is actually a question for all of you. Let's say if a person is driving on the road and he hit some pedestrian on the road, and the pedestrian got severely injured. When the police come and takes him, and he's standing in front of the judge, what do you think the judge will do? Will he punish him for his action, or will he be spared?
It was unintentional, so I think like the intention is important. If he didn't purposely like stab the person to death, it was an accident. I think.
Right. So what, like, if the person says, if the judge asks him, like, hey, did you hit the person with a car? And you say yes. And if he then he would be bound to punish, right? Like the judge would say, if he just, without giving the context, without giving any further explanation, if he just accepts to it, yes, I did a mistake, yes, my car hit him, and that's it, then the judge will definitely punish him. But if, as Mataji, you were explaining, if the person can explain, give him more details that yes, I was going within the speed limit. My car is in a right condition. There was a green light. I was going in the normal speed limit, but this pedestrian ran into my way, and so therefore, even though I made an attempt to stop the car, still I couldn't control, and I had to hit him. Then if you give those reasons, then the judge will understand the context, and with all the explanation that you have given, he will say that, okay, you're free, because it's an accident, it's not something that you intentionally did. So I think, to your point, Mataji, the intention is more important. It's not that every single action in this material world will result in either a good or a bad reaction to us. I think just the way how in this material world, even though we may engage in some actions, as long as we don't get attach ourselves to the results of the actions, we can kind of get away from them. In the same way, it's the same law applies in the spiritual world also, that if you engage yourself in material activities, but you offer them to the Lord, then you are not bound to experience the karmic reactions. So I think that's one thing which is very important, that we all need to understand the power of chanting the holy names of the Lord, or dedicating our actions to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Will spiritualize all our material actions, and what that really means is that we will not get any karmic reaction to all those material activities that we engage in. So these are some of the things that I was reading about this, devotees. Anybody has any questions, or they want to add anything?
I actually wanted to add one other thing, Prabhuji. I think the gopis, they are like one of the biggest bhakts of Lord Shri Krishna. But they
Mhm.
were not sannyasis. They had, kids and like, families that they were taking care of. But still, because they had Shri Krishna in their heart, no matter like, whether they're cooking or cleaning or bringing pots of water, but because of being constantly like thinking about Krishna, they are actually like considered even bigger bhakts than um some of the rishis who gave up. And like, I think there was I don't remember all the details, but I read about um Shri Krishna sent someone to get food for him, and the rishis didn't like give it, even though they were um, you know
The
meditating
dust.
on the Lord.
Are you talking about the dust of the dust of the feet of the devotees, or
No, this was
food?
actually like one of the leelas of Lord Shri Krishna. Like he was
In the, yeah,
was
Prabhuji, when the Brahmanas, ask, patnis, they give prasadam.
Yes, yes, that one.
Okay.
No, Prabhuji, I think Mataji is mentioning about the dust of Gopi's feet. Narad Muni came because Krishna has a headache in Dwaraka. So Narad Muni, no one ready to give the dust from the lotus feet, dust from the feet for Krishna's headache to cure. But gopis in Vrindavan, they said, if we have to go to hell, it's fine. But for Krishna's well-beings, we will give the dust.
That's
So,
also a good example, Mataji. But I was talking about the one that Suvala Prabhuji
Subal Prabhu,
mentioned.
okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that was when the husbands of the
Brahman Patnis.
the Brahmins, they didn't give food. They drove the person away, but their wives had been listening to the tales of Krishna and
Yeah.
his and so they were so attracted. Like as soon as they heard, they came and they visited and they brought all the food prasadam.
Yes, yeah. And Brahma Krishna told the Brahman Patnis to go back home, not only saying him, but go back home and just do service for me. Then Krishna will be happy. So Gopis, Mataji, Gopis love. Sorry, Prabhuji, I'm just.
No, Mataji, please go ahead. Yes, please.
As Gopis love is the highest perfection, Mataji, because Gopis feel the Paramatma, Krishna in their heart. So that's why gopis' loves are the highest love. They are the most perfectionist in Krishna's. That's why Krishna is the gopis are the most favorite devotee of Lord Krishna. They are the highest. No one can compare gopis' love with anything else.
Mataji, thank you for sharing.
Sure, Matajis. Thank you, Matajis. Any other thoughts, devotees, or shall we move to the next verse?
Yeah, here Krishna is saying, right, Prabhuji, principle is like, practice the Krishna consciousness, dedicating, with love and devotion. If we practice, then we will get, Krishna prema. Because Krishna is thinking of and telling that, think of me in the form of Krishna, Shama Sundara form. How can we do it? Our Shubhalas Prabhu always says like A, B, C, D, always, try to be in the association of devotees, read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, chanting the holy names, which is very, very important, right? And deity worship, the diet we take, and, visiting the holy places. So if we do it with love and devotion, and because it is our prescribed duty, because everyone has a duty. So as a human being, because Krishna is giving us everything. I was listening to His Grace Pranavananda Prabhuji today. He was telling that Krishna is giving us everything because we get electricity bill from electricity department, water bill from water department, insurance, so many things we have to pay. But Krishna is giving everything, the light, water, food, everything, but he is not expecting anything. So it is our duty, to give, chant with love and devotion, and that way we'll get freedom from all this material contamination, in our heart. So just to, Prabhupada has given us a very nice, family. Anywhere we go in the world, we can find, devotees. So association is very important, and we can nicely chant Hare Krishna and practice, with four regulatory principles of chanting. Because anyway, these four regulatory principles are basic, but in this age of Kali, it has become very difficult. Yeah, that's my understanding, Prabhu. Please correct. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, devotees, one important thing in this verse, Krishna says without or beyond a doubt. So he is really emphasizing, the fact that, just take my words for granted, because, you should not have any doubts in the fact that once somebody follows through this and leads their life by offering their actions and thoughts to him, he's assuring of the fact that he will go back to his abode. So that's I think Krishna is saying this with a lot of authority and a lot of conviction that if we follow through this and be able to remember him in our day-to-day activities, at the end of our life, he is going to help us remember him. All right, so let's move to the next verse, devotees. This is verse 8. Can one of our devotees read through this, please?
Right,
Hare
Prabhuji?
Krishna.
Go ahead, Mataji.
No, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry, I'm kind of shifting to the previous verse. Just wanted to add
Yeah,
some
sure.
or get corrected as well. So one point that I wanted to and been hearing recently got a bit of clarity is the prescribed duty. The prescribed duty, I think in second chapter we talked about it extensively on Swadharma and the Paradharma, right? The differences and so forth. So something that I've realizing as well, we need to have a instructing spiritual master, first of all, Diksha Guru or Siksha Guru, right? We need to personally have a person in our life who knows our background and who can help us know what is our prescribed duty. Yes, we all have a prescribed duty to go back home, back to Godhead, serve Krishna. Yes, but at this moment in this material world, what is our duty? Without giving everything up, how do we continue that? That if we try to figure out ourselves, at least I tried, and we cannot. It doesn't work out that way. So there should be someone who can guide us, who knows our back and who knows our desires, needs, everything, and then who is sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness and who can guide. So I wanted to share that, Prabhuji. Even our His Grace Pran Govind Das Prabhuji, in one of the, I think 2 days ago, he posted one of the 6 pointers that we all have to check all the time, every single day, early in the morning when we wake up. And one of it is check ourselves. Do we have a person in our life with whom we can share our current state of spirituality, and accordingly who can guide us improve in our spirituality. So it's very, very important, which I realized, which I just wanted to share. Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, please correct.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. No, absolutely, Mataji. I think it's very, you're emphasizing the importance of having a guru or a spiritual master, so that we understand what direction we have to head as far as our spiritual progress is concerned. I think definitely we all have to aspire to have a guru. And as you rightly said, we should have somebody with whom we can share our personal, not necessarily spiritual life, but also our material life in confidence, right? Because you need that one go-to person who can always guide you, and in the context of your spiritual life, it can guide you in all aspects of your life. So definitely there's an importance. It's really important for us to think of having such a person. It could be a shiksha guru as well, to begin with. But you're right in the sense that we should definitely aspire to have our spiritual master who can give us more direction. Now, coming to my understanding of the prescribed duties, Mataji, I was understanding, I mean, in the context of this particular verse, when Krishna is mentioning that we should continue with our prescribed duties, for Arjuna being a Kshatriya, Krishna is asking him to fight. For the majority of it, all of us fall under Shudra category because we are serving others, right, in one way or the other. The other aspect is that um, I was listening in one of the lectures that those who have like people or those who are like younger than 25 years, they have this option or the opportunity to kind of take brahmacharya in their life and then continue to be practicing devotional service. But a majority of them, I mean, they need to be really fortunate to kind of lead such a life, like, from there on. But usually, um, like most a majority of us fall into grihastashram, right? So once you enter grihastashram, you are bound with certain duties and responsibilities. You'll take care of your husband or wife, and then also the children, and give them the right kind of foundations in spiritual life, and then progress, not necessarily like from a material perspective, but also you're assisting your better half as well as your children to kind of elevate their consciousness in the spiritual life. That itself is also that is also a duty. It's a prescribed duty of those who are entering the grihastha. And when you take the vow of entering into grihastha, that's the most important thing. You're in other words taking a promise or giving a promise to Krishna that I'm entering into this marriage institution of marriage, and I'm taking the responsibility to make sure that my better half as well as the children uh, will I'll help them to kind of progress in their spiritual journey. So I think that is what I understand. I mean, continuing with your day-to-day responsibilities of cooking, taking care of children, working, and whatnot, and then still, with the consciousness that when you're serving your family members, your relatives, you should have the mood that you're serving the devotees, and you're doing it for Krishna because Krishna has given them to you, and it's your responsibility to kind of uplift them, uplift their consciousness. So that's what I'm envisioning as prescribed duties in this context. But the other aspect is when you talked about having a spiritual master. um, I think one of the most important things, what I understand, what a spiritual master would do, or the kind of a role that they would play in a devotee's life, is that every devotee, every person has their own set of strengths and weaknesses and their inclinations. So by understanding our inclinations, um, you know, I think the spiritual master will give us services where we already carry a natural inclination and then dovetail them in service of the Lord. So, not every time you will get to interact with the spiritual master, but I think when we share a little bit about us, then the spiritual master would definitely know which area he thinks we would be able to serve him and the mission. So again, devotees, I'm just sharing my thoughts. You all can chime in. um,
Yeah, I can add something to that. So yeah, from 25 on or whenever you're married, you're leading a grihastha life. Then I've also read that uh, Prabhupada has written and Shubha Vilas Prabhu has mentioned that by age 50 itself, one should uh, move on and start getting into Vanaprastha. Is that what it's called? After that,
yes,
and yeah,
Vanaprastha. Yeah, after
Vanaprastha.
Grihastha. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I don't know how realistic that is because I shot way beyond that. Anyway, uh, but in today's world, even to get all your benefits and everything, like Medicare, it doesn't kick in till 65. And so how are you supposed to compromise all that? I mean, I don't see that as being, I think you should just, I'm not seeing that as being a realistic path. Maybe for some people it is. If you plan for that from a very early, start of your career, I think.
Yeah, I mean, my again, devotees, you all can chime in, but my understanding, Prabhu, is like, I think back in the day, I'm just thinking about the context, right? Back in the day, people used to get into Grihastha at a very early age, right? I mean, I think maybe that's the right age when they are like 18 years or 19 years or 20, 21, something like that. And then by the time they reach 50, they would have probably fulfilled all their responsibilities in the Grihastha where their children are grown up now, they're married, and they are kind of independent, and so therefore the parents had the luxury to enter into the Vanaprastha because now they can solely dedicate their life in service to the Lord and without really having to worry about taking care of their children. But in today's day and age, I can kind of relate to it. My mom used to stress me to get into Grihastha when I was like in 23 or 24-year old. And I always used to say that, oh, this is too early for me. This is way too early. How can I manage? How can I take care of responsibilities at that early age? And I used to debate with her and prolong with her. And then, I ended up entering at a later part. And now in the hindsight, I realize the importance of starting off, your grihastashram sooner, so that we would have probably by the age of 50 or 60 or 55 or whatever, we would have probably taken care of all the responsibilities and then probably been more focused on the spiritual life or have enough time to practice our spiritual um, sadhana and devotional service. So again, these are just my thoughts, Prabhu. I mean, in the current context, you're right. Not everybody getting into 50 years may practically take into vanaprastha because they still have kids and their responsibilities and everything. So I think we should apply it to our situation, is what I understand. Every person's situation is different, and again, we don't really necessarily have to wait until we enter into vanaprasthashram, right? I think that's the beauty of this verse. Krishna is saying that even while you are in grihasthashram, you can still continue to render devotional service to the Lord. um, you know, maybe the effect of it is as good as, you entering into vanaprastha ashram, or as good as you entering into sannyas ashram. You can reap the same benefits of it while you're still in grihastha ashram by continuing to perform your prescribed duties, but just offering them your actions to the lotus feet of the Lord. And also, as Subal Prabhu has mentioned, all those ABCDs of bhakti, following through that. I think it's practical. I think that's the beauty of what we all have received from Prabhupada, is that we have got the best tools available, the best tools that exist to kind of remain God conscious or Krishna conscious while we are engaged in different aspects of our prescribed duties, whether be it in Grihastha or in Vanaprastha or in Sannyas ashram. So I'm sorry, Prabhu. I don't know if I've answered this correctly, but I'm just sharing my thoughts. And any other devotees can chime in as well, please.
I
think
think Isha
Isha
Mataji has her hands raised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm not seeing. Please,
Yeah.
Mataji, go ahead.
Actually, Prabhuji, I don't know, it's a stupid question, but in this sloka, it's been clearly mentioned by Krishna that by chanting Krishna's name, one will transfer to the supreme planet Krishna Loka without a doubt. But I have also heard somewhere that without the proper guidance of a spiritual master, you cannot reach me, like you cannot know me, and like so it's contradicting, like if a person doesn't have guru but he is chanting like truly chanting Krishna's name. So he can reach, but what about that? Krishna has also mentioned that without spiritual master, you cannot come to me, and I don't know, I'm confused.
I think my understanding here, Mataji, is that, I always had this question, how do I choose a spiritual master and all? Like, I always had these questions in my mind. I used to, and then devotees used to say, you don't worry about, like, don't think too much about like when will you get a spiritual master. Of course, it's important that we need to think in that direction, and also explore. But what I was told is that you continue to do your sadhana, and Krishna will arrange the circumstances for you, and he will make sure that you'll get a spiritual master. Of course, it's not that, as you rightly said, it can't be that we are following all the four regulatory principles and follow, doing our chanting, but we are not making any effort to like connect with a guru. Then obviously you won't be able to have one. But I think what my understanding is that as we continue to be as more serious in our devotional life, Krishna makes the necessary arrangements and he would connect us with the spiritual master. I think, Subal Prabhu, Baldev Prabhu, I think you all can speak to it, and kind of share or show
I see
throw some
Baswati
light.
Mataji raised hand. Prabhuji. Mataji
Yes,
would like.
Baswati Mataji as well, please.
Prabhu, go ahead, Prabhuji. Subal Prabhu. I just
No,
would
no, no,
add.
Mataji, go ahead. Because Prabhuji cannot see the who raised hand, right? That's why I mentioned.
Oh, no, Prabhuji. No, Prabhuji, Prabhuji explained very nicely about selecting spiritual master for the living entity like us, Mataji. But Mataji, what this sloka, if you read the sloka here, Krishna is telling to Arjuna, and who is Arjuna? Arjuna is the disciple of Krishna, and in Karma Yoga, chapter 2, verse 7, Arjuna actually surrendered unto Krishna that yud karpana dosha pahata swabhava prichami tam dharma samuracheta. So that sloka, Arjuna already surrendered. So Krishna is his spiritual master. So spiritual master is telling to his disciple that if you think of me, think about me, absorb in my thinking, you definitely will go to, and there is no doubt. So spiritual master is giving that assurance to his disciple. So that is the essence of that sloka, Mataji. And for us, yes, only chanting, what Prabhupada in purport is trying to explain is with the bona fide guidance, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, as well as we should have what Sushilpa Mataji said, instructional. We may have multiple instructional spiritual master, means Shiksha Guru. And Diksha Guru will be one, and Shiksha Guru will be a lot, many who can guide us. So that way, chanting the names, holy names, sincerely, without offense, with practice, with entire life. So we have to make this goal in this life, that this will be our last life. So we do not want to come back here again. So that's the goal we have to make, that determination we have to make. And definitely Krishna and Guru and Krishna will help us. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you so much, Mataji. You explained really well. Thank you.
Can I
And
add something, Prabhuji?
there's also one, I'm
I
sorry.
think Pawan Prabhuji would like to add.
Yes, please, Prabhu, go ahead.
So I think in one of the verses, Krishna himself says that this path is difficult. This is not a easy path. So I think that is one of the reasons why it is also said that we need a guru, because there is always, when we are just chanting by ourselves without the association of people or the direction of guru, there is chances of us getting lost in the world. We're getting lost in the Maya. So having a guru will in fact guide us to do the chanting in a better way. So it is not contradicting each other that just chanting or just guru. It is together we will get to a place where we need to be. If there could be some people who are exceptional from the day they are born and in Krishna consciousness, and they might attain it without a help of guru. But for majority of us, I think it is a process which is difficult. So at some point of time, we need guidance. In fact, just being here, everybody is a guru here who is helping each other to get to where we need to be. Thank you very much.
No, wonderful, Prabhu, wonderful point, Pawan Prabhuji. You're absolutely correct. I think, it's important that we should have Shiksha Gurus. And as you rightly mentioned, as long as we continue to remain in the association of devotees, I think we'll be guided in the right direction. I also heard from devotees that, yes, there you could have multiple Siksha Gurus, to kind of guide you and make sure that you're accountable as far as your spiritual life is concerned. But also to connect with the parampara, you definitely need a Diksha Guru. But back in the day, I used to think about, okay, how do I choose my Diksha Guru and all? Then the devotees used to say that, um, just keep in mind that Prabhupada is a Jagat Guru. So until the time you have a Diksha Guru, Prabhupada, you should take shelter of Prabhupada and consider him as your guru, and you will have to follow his instructions through his books, through his teachings, through his purports, and that way you are not lost as far as your direction is concerned in your spiritual life. So at least as for starter to for us to get started off, we should not go with an assumption that we don't have a guru, but we do have guru as Prabhupada, but then also we should seek enough Siksha Gurus so that we can continue to remain in our journey as well as progress in our journey. And as I said, at some point, Krishna himself will give us the intelligence and arrange the circumstances so that we will have our Diksha Guru. But I think Pawan Prabhu's points were spot on. It's a partnership together, right? Like, you need a coach, and for every player has a coach, because the coach's responsibility is to kind of guide you, to work on your strengths as well as on your weaknesses. So for that reason, yes, we definitely need Siksha Gurus as well as a Diksha Guru at some point in our life. Any other questions, Krisha Mataji? Are you good with this?
No, Prabhuji, it's everyone like Bhashwati Mataji, Pawan Prabhuji, very well explained it. Thank you so much.
Wonderful
Thank
explanation.
you.
Yeah, really,
Yes.
it was so good. Thank you.
One
Thank
thing
you.
I would like to add, Prabhuji, Krishna is Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru, right? So Krishna, if we pray what I have heard is if we pray very intensively and with our heart, Krishna will send Guru, in a way, like, for like Dhruva Maharaj, he was praying nicely, like with what to do. So Narada Muni came, of course, even for Valmiki Muni. So many people, in fact, as Prabhuji was mentioning, and Shilpa Mataji was mentioning, we can have many. In fact, some people say that even a grass can be our Siksha Guru because it teaches us how humble we should be. A tree can be a Siksha Guru, how tolerant it is. With our desire, generally we'll definitely get, a Guru. But of course, we can see that in this, class itself, we have so many gurus, we help each other. That's my understanding, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji's and Mataji's. Very nice discussion. You all have added some really good points and also some really good questions. I was intending to get on to the verse 8, but I think I'm glad we kind of discussed the topics that we discussed today. And we are spot on at 9 o'clock. Unless any other devotees would like to add, I'll kind of give a final call for devotees if you would like to share any reflections or you want to share anything from what you discussed today or any questions. Looks like I think we're all good. Devotees, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to facilitate today's session. If I've spoken anything incorrectly, please forgive me. Again, I'm learning with all of you, so thank you very much. And please pray. Let's all pray for each other, so that Krishna gives us that ability to constantly remember him while we are continuing with our prescribed duties. Hare Krishna, devotees.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice platform.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya
Pasandeecha
patitanam
patitanam
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo.
Vaishnavebhyo.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Big
Karthik.
Hari Bol to Karthik Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hari
Thank
Bol.
you.
Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Hari.
I think Dhriti here also want to say something, Prabhuji. It's not your chance.
She will show us how to chant properly.
Yeah.
Rita?
Rithira, you want to show Mataji's? She is, she's been like, she just came out from outside Prabhu. And since then, she's been bothering me on the left side. I keep telling her to remain calm. But thank you very much, devotees. We'll again reconnect, I think, next Wednesday. Of course, tomorrow, but like we'll reconnect together on.
Yeah, any Matajis would like to lead tomorrow, so or anybody.
Oh,
would like-
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sushil-
I think Baswati Mataji,
yeah,
Sushilpa Mataji, I think we all should take turns, Mataji.
I'm not qualified, Prabhuji.
Mataji, do you really think I am qualified?
No, Prabhuji, you are a very good devotee.
No, Mataji. I mean, there's one thing, Mataji, I just want to share, which a very, very senior disciple, Her Grace Malati Mataji. I think I was discussing about Malati Mataji with Baldev Seva Prabhu the other day. Malati Mataji used to tell me, like, because devotees used to argue with her that, oh, I'm not qualified to do this service, I'm not qualified to do that service, when I was back in Michigan. And Malati Mataji told me one thing, which was always, went too deep in my mind. She said, it doesn't matter whether you're qualified or not. She said, like, whatever you do it with sincerity. Maybe there you still have flaws, you still have areas to improve and whatnot. But she said that never lose even a single service opportunity that come your way. Even though we may feel like we are not fully qualified with it, she said, like, just take it. And Krishna will inspire us, is what she said. So from that point onwards, whenever some opportunity comes to my way, I do not, unless circumstances do not allow, I prefer to take, grab hold of that opportunity. Because one thing, Mataji, for sure, I can't speak like Sridhama Prabhu or Subal Prabhu or Baldev Prabhu. I mean, they've been spending extensively on reading the scriptures and can quote some really good examples. But but one thing for sure, by listening to others and also by listening to the lectures, I think it really helps us. So I was telling to Raghu Prabhu the other day as well that Prabhu also was kind of interested to facilitate. I told Prabhu the same thing. He has more knowledge than me and he can quote more examples than me. But I think here it's not about leading, right, Mataji? It's a facilitation. So like we are just facilitating the session. So I think I definitely would request Susilpa Mataji and Baswati Mataji to take turns.
Shilpa Mataji ki jai. Mataji.
Baswati Mataji and Susilpa Mataji ki jai.
Yeah, I posted personal messages also to Mataji. So
Yes.
I replied to you, Prabhuji.
that was not the answer we were looking, Mataji. Sushilpa Mataji, you are available tomorrow, right, Mataji? Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Prabhuji, at your service. At your service.
I'll take
Das.
I will follow
Thank
the
you, Mataji.
footsteps of Sushilpa Mataji.
No.
Hari Bol. Okay, Mataji.
Thank you,
so
Prabhu.
much,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Sure. Hare Krishna devotees. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Prabhuji, Kartik Prabhu. It's a very nice class.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhus. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Shanti.
Krishna, Haribol, Dhruti Hira ki jai.
Yeah.